First of all, once again, welcome to this session of Research and Site Smart with EndNote 2025. We are very delighted to have you all here. I'm joined in this webinar by my colleague Vishav Sharma, who will primarily moderate the chat. There is sound, everybody. And if you cannot hear me, just give me a moment. I'll just put some so I have put some instructions in the chat right at the bottom of your screen. You should be able to see. I will also annotate. Just give me a moment. Can everybody? I hope everybody can see what I have typed on the screen. If you do not have sound, okay. I'm going to stop annotating right now. I hope this is all we can help technically with respect to the WebEx sound. I'm stopping to annotate, and we will now start with the session officially. I will try to be as loud as possible. Many of my Vishav, can I have a confirmation from you that I am audible?
Yeah, hi, Subhashri. Yes, you are audible and the screen is clearly visible as well.
Okay,
Thanks.
thank you so much. So we start with the session now. We are talking about EndNote 2025. As a lot of you know, EndNote has been the gold standard in reference management since it was introduced more than 25 years ago. So we started with EndNote version X1. For many of you, if you have been researchers for quite some time, you probably have seen EndNote come in CDs. There was no online version, or there was no installation which is available online before. It was to come in CDs, and from there on, today we are at EndNote 10 2025. This is the 14th version of EndNote over the years, and this EndNote version is very special because it incorporates generative AI, which we will be discussing in a moment. So first things first, if you are somebody who is already using EndNote 2025, no issues. If not, just give me a moment and I will share my screen in just a moment. So topic to share for a moment, and I'm right now going to be sharing my entire screen so I can toggle better. Okay, so if you can see my screen right now, you should be able to see download EndNote, right? So all I've done, I have typed on Google download EndNote. There are also trial versions of EndNote available. So all you need to do is go to this particular page, and you will get an installer file for EndNote. Use the one which works with your system, that is whether it's a Windows based system or it is a Macintosh based system. Now, before we have this question on the chat, please note EndNote is not work the cite while you write plugin, which allows you to create within the manuscript formatted bibliographies, is not available for Linux. So this is a question that we get often, that if I want to use EndNote and I want have a free open source word processor software like LibreOffice, or like I'm using Linux, will it work? It doesn't work. However, there are some hacks. For example, there is WineHQ that you can use. If you need some more information how other users have sort of adapted EndNote to Linux, please write into me. Okay, if you have questions on how to upgrade EndNote, please write into the commercial, team at Web of Science Clarivate, or you could just drop a line to us, and I can just guide you to, how you can go and upgrade your earlier versions. So you can see over here EndNote 2025. You have EndNote 21, which was the earlier version, and then you have the version EndNote 20, which was before that. Okay, now I go now back to my library. So if you install EndNote onto your system, right? And when you are installing EndNote, please remember you must shut down all your other Microsoft Office software. For some of the people, if you have problems using EndNote in your Microsoft Word, the reason could be, especially if it shows an error out of range, the reason could be that you have another reference software which is already installed, like Mendeley. Now, I have not encountered users facing a problem with Zotero, but if you have a Mendeley in your system installed and working with your Microsoft Word, that could be a problem. Now, you can use EndNote with Google Docs, and I will show you that. So there is a extension for Google Docs where you can install the extension. So when you first register yourself, you will be asked to sync. Can you see this? There is a sync thing over here. File, right? You will be asked to sync. Now, when you are syncing, please, they will tell you to register your EndNote. Now, this is something very important. Please remember, though this is a desktop application and as such you do not need a corresponding web account, it is always better to have a web account for yourself, so that all the references in your library are in real time backed onto the cloud. This ensures that even if your system crashes, your system changing, you're in the middle of writing a dissertation, your system crashes, you still have your entire reference library backed up onto the cloud. If you have concerns regarding your security, do not worry. We follow AWS, and we have not had any security breaches till date. Now, if you all are using a personal EndNote license, please remember that license can be, the product key can be used on 3 different systems at once. Okay, so you can install it at 3 different systems. However, if you are part of an organization, you are part of an institutional license, this will not work. This does not work for bulk volume licenses. But if you have purchased an individual personal license, that can be installed on 3 different systems, but they will all be synced to one account. How do you register your account? It's very simple, sir. The moment it'll be a new, so I can't show you right now with my system because I'm already registered. When you install EndNote for the first time, it will ask you to register your thing. There will be here, there will be a sync. The moment you click on the sync, it will tell you to register or log in to your web account. So it will say log into your web account, and then below that there will be something like, do not have a EndNote web account, please register. So you can do it either ways. Does that make sense? So if the question was how do we register? The moment you install EndNote, you click on sync and you will be asked to either log into your web account or you will be asked to register. I hope that makes sense to everybody. Let me show you how does EndNote web look like. I have been using EndNote 2021 license. Yes, you will be using. If you have not yet registered for an EndNote web, please do that. Exactly the same way as I showed. This works for both EndNote 21 as well as 2025. Okay, I am now signed in. Can you see this? I'm already signed in to EndNote, and my entire library has opened up. Okay, I now go back to my system. Now we will do one by one. File, new. If you open a new library, this entire library will be blank. You can add references. Now you can also open a library that you have. So for example, a lot of the researchers who are attending today's session are talking about how they are using EndNote 20 or EndNote 21. Now let us say tomorrow they upgrade to EndNote 2025. The library that they have created previously on these versions of EndNote can all be opened. Now, if you want to save a library and open it on another system, another version of EndNote, all you need to do is save a copy or save this library. You can save a copy of the library, you can save it anywhere on your system. It does not have to be only on documents, you can even save it on your desktop. It's a .enl file. Please remember, it's a .enl file. You can also open a shared library. So you know a library can also be shared with. So if you notice over here, I can share this library with people. So let's say click on this. Can you see this? I can share this library. Now, if you notice over here, you can share 1,000 with this library with 1,000 people at one time. You can also give two kinds of privileges while sharing. So the permission can be either read and write. Okay. Now, if you can see this status is pending because the person with whom I have shared, they have not, opened up the library. They have not, accepted these privileges. But I can share a library with 1,000 people at one time. Now, you can give them read and write privileges, which means that they can, uh, actually, uh, you know, delete or add references. So now this is a very important thing to remember, because if you're working with a collaborator, do all the people who you are sharing your library with need to? Yes, because when you're sharing your library, you are actually sharing it via the web. So yes, they do need to have a EndNote web account. That is true, because otherwise the sharing will not. Because otherwise, how will you share, right? This is getting shared through the cloud, so they need to have an EndNote web account. And this is also a very good hack, uh, because remember, an EndNote library that is created on EndNote 21 or EndNote 2025 cannot be opened on previous versions of EndNote. So EndNote 2025, you can open libraries created with all the earlier versions of EndNote, not a problem. But the reverse is always not true. The libraries created with the latest version of EndNote, they might not open on, let's say, EndNote X7 or X9. In that case, if you want to share a library, this is the best way, to share reference lists. Giving read and write privileges lets them add and delete references. Read only, they can just view the references. Make sure you are comfortable with your collaborator, deleting or adding references to your library if you want to give them read and write privileges. Okay. Now that we have talked about open and sharing and saving, let us talk about importing. Now you can import a PDF file. You can import an entire folder of references. The only caveat being that in order that the references, the bibliographic metadata is extracted from those references, you need them to have a DOI. So a DOI needs to be associated with the references in order to be able to import the references and have their bibliographic metadata extracted. Now, let me show you how to create a library. This is coming from the perspective that you all, so I will not talk about Web of Science right now. If you all already have Web of Science, you will see an export button and it will have an inbuilt EndNote. I am going with the assumption that we are using certain kinds of sources which are beyond the Web of Science. So let us first start with Google Scholar, an extremely common source that we do, Google Scholar. Okay, now let us do some searches. I have done again antimicrobial resistance. Now, the first thing on Google Scholar that I always recommend is you all need to be signed in with your Google account, which is basically a Gmail account. Go to My Library. Okay, now whenever you see in your literature search that you have done on Google Scholar, you need to do save. Okay, just click on the star icon and say save. Okay, and you can, whenever you are doing a save over here, see, it tells you, do you want to save it under which label? Now I have antimicrobial resistance over here, done. Let's do this one, done. Now I go to My Library. I go to the label. You can export all of them. If you want to export only one, you can see import into EndNote. Now, how do I see this? This is not the default setting. Please remember, you need to go to setting. You need to go to your settings and make sure in the bibliography manager you have links to import citation into EndNote. Save. Excuse me. Export all. EndNote. And you can see over here a .enw file. Please excuse me, but I again have a comment in the chat box saying no audio. Can I please have a confirmation that there is audio? Double click on this link. And you can see all the 5 references have been automatically imported. I'll take a small 1-minute recess over here to get a confirmation from the audience that they are following these steps. Right? I hope everybody can follow these steps. Thank you so much for the confirmation. Okay, now you can see this is doing something. I'll talk about what it is exactly doing. It is attaching the full text PDF. That is because of something that I have activated at the back end. We'll talk about that in a moment. Now let us go to something different. Let us go to Science Direct. Now many of us use Science Direct. So what I'm using Science Direct can also be something like IEEE, all of this. So basically a journal page. So I'm going to be searching and let us search, say I search for okay. So you can see I have searched for some references. Now let's just click on any reference. And here we go. Can you see over here the cite button, right? You can see the cite button over here. You will say export to RIS. Now, please remember RIS is the default interoperable references reader, meaning that this file format works with every reference management system, be that Mendeley, Zotero, EndNote, anything. Now, many of you who have been probably using another version of a reference management software, let's say Zotero or Mendeley, and you now want to are doing a systematic literature review where all of your references need to be, let us say, on one system, and you'd like all of them to be on EndNote. So how would you get your references from Mendeley into EndNote? Simple. Go to Mendeley. There's an export button there. There's an export format. Choose the format as RIS and then import it into EndNote. Okay, so whenever you're exporting references from any other software, it has to be in the format RIS, and EndNote can read it, and vice versa. Double click it, same thing, it will import. Can you see this? It has imported these references. Okay, I hope this is clear till date. Now let us go to PubMed. PubMed is another system that many of us use. Okay, so now let us do a search over here. What should we be searching about? So let's search about mental health and microbiome. Mental health and microbiome. Okay. And let's say these are the 3 papers that I would like to put into my. So you'll click on send to citation manager, create file. Same thing. Just double click it. It opens automatically on EndNote. Your EndNote library should be open. Okay, so now we have seen the various ways that we can import literature. Now comes the point that, let us say, it's a blog article or it's something like a unpublished thesis, something which I do not have on a let's say I do not have that on a system, on a literature or a search database. I can still create new references. Okay, so it could be a book. You can attach a file. Apologies to all those who cannot still. Our video recording will be shared. Do not worry about it. Stopping to annotate. Okay. So now we have saved this. So I've created a reference. So as much as possible, create, put as much information as possible so that you can create a reference. Right? You can try to find the full text available. Still go. Let's close this. We go back to our references. Okay, now we'll go to edit and I'll go to something called preferences, which is very important. Now you notice something that I said you can import the full text. The references, full text references. So if you have PDFs lying around, you can just get a folder of PDFs and you can import it into EndNote library. Now, wouldn't it be wonderful if this entire process could be automated? And yes, you can automate it. So basically, think of a situation where we are reading a lot of full text articles. You are downloading PDFs from various sources, from all the researchers who are joining in from India today. And if you are from a centrally or a state funded institution, you all are beneficiaries of the One Nation, One Subscription scheme, which gives you unfettered access to 30 years of content for 13,000 journals. So right now, a lot of researchers in the country, in India, have access to a lot of full text articles. You need a system to manage all these references. So every time you're reading, let's say, an issue from a journal, you're reading a full text article, you need to do is make sure you download it into a specific folder and then give EndNote the pathway for that folder. So what happens is every time a new PDF is there in that folder, it automatically gets imported into EndNote. So the entire process is seamless. Now let's go to the other things. I talked about doing a systematic literature review, right? Now, one of the best ways that you can use EndNote is using it for an SLR or a systematic literature review. Now, generally, when you're doing a systematic literature review, you're often using multiple databases. So, for example, if you are in the clinical space and you're using Web of Science, you are using Embase, Sinhal, PubMed, Scopus, there is a huge chance that some of your, because you're using similar keywords for a particular topic, there will be a lot of duplication and overlap of references. Remember, I told you from any, of these databases, you can always export your references as an RIS format file and import it into EndNote. Right? So import all the references from multiple databases into EndNote, not a problem. And then once you have all these references, you can then remove duplicates by comparing references based on multiple fields: author, year, title, DOI, reference type, etc. So this ensures that even if you have an early version of the reference which does not have a DOI, you still are able to import make sure you're still able to ensure. Again, a small confirmation check from Vishav. Audio is audible, right? So we,
Yes, it is
yes.
audible.
So we are able to identify the unique references. Now, EndNote will never. So if I try to say to tell EndNote, just give me a moment. So can you see find duplicates? Let's go back to all references and I'll say find duplicates. Go to library, find duplicates. You will notice it does not remove the duplicates by itself. It tells you that this is also, these are same. Which one do you want to keep? Okay, so you can say keep this reference or keep, so let's say keep this reference. Okay, can you see this? So it will tell you which are the, so this way you can ensure Okay, so you can see these are all I have 88 references which are duplicates. I can just, for example, I can say take all these, just remove them. Can you see this? Move references to trash. So you are quickly told which are, and you can actually see which, So for example, which one do you want to keep? Maybe you can see the one which I've done later on. So for example, this one, biodiesel from algae, I download, put it into 2026. So maybe I want to keep the latest version. So I say, and just do move references to trash. Okay. So let's go back to edit and the preferences. Another thing, remember we saw it was trying to find the full text. So you can go to find full text. This is the same way to remove references in all the versions. So the things that I'm showing you right now are applicable for EndNote 20 and EndNote 21 also. Now let us go to find full text. How do I find full text? So if you notice over here, anywhere if there is a free version of the paper available somewhere on the internet in a copyright non-violating format, we will be able to fetch the full text for you. Now, for all of the libraries, institutional libraries that are using Open Athens or Easy Proxy or in Shibboleth, any kind, you can actually give the URL path and the authentication. And what happens is that if a reference is there in your library holdings, automatically the PDF will be imported. Now let us talk about grouping. How can I group the references? So we can create groups. So you can see I've created a lot of groups. Okay, so you can create a new group at any time like this. Or you can also create a smart group. So for example, if you remember, we did a lot of, so we'll do something called microbiota. And I'll say any reference which has the term, okay? Any field, it has the word microbiome, or any field has the word microbiota. Create. So now we have 44 references which have the term micro. We have now a smart group. Now, what is the benefit of having a smart group? You do not have to worry about, dragging and dropping references into the group. It will automatically update based on whatever is getting imported. If that logic is satisfied, the group. You can also create super groups. So you can combine two groups. Can you see that? Include references in A1 test and now you have created a group. So A super, I'm giving it a name. So now 192 references from the A super, which is basically a combination of A1 test and A urothelial, right? You can add references to a particular group. You can create a group set. Okay, now what do you mean by creating a citation report? You need to be logged in or have a Web of Science, access. So in case you have Web of Science access, you can see the number of citations for the references which are there in that particular group. Any questions here? I would like to take any questions right now. I hope this part was clear about how to create groups, smart groups, and how to create a supergroup by either using any of the Boolean operator and or not. Now we come to something very important, which is retractions. Now, we all appreciate in today's ecosystem there are too many papers, which are getting retracted uh, because of earlier detection of scientific misconduct, etc. How to export bulk references even from ProQuest? It is absolutely same. You have to export it into an RIS format. Okay, you need to export it into an RIS format. Either you're doing it from ProQuest, or if you're doing it from Sinhal, Embase, choose all the references that you need and export it. PubMed does not have RIS. PubMed has only NBIB format. But NBIB PubMed format works well with EndNote. So RIS format is not available with Google Scholar or, yes, it is absolutely possible to export all at once. If you notice, we exported multiple references at a time from each of these, databases. So it is absolutely possible. So on Google Scholar, I know for many of you, I'm just going back, but just hear me out. This will also refresh your memory. On Google Scholar, what we did was we did a search. We saved the references into using a label. Okay. All the questions regarding can you create a subgroup? Yes. Create from groups. So what is the subgroup? So you can use not. Okay. And if the question was, if you want to create a subgroup using some kind of keywords, so you can absolutely do that. You can say groups as smart group. If citations from Google Scholar do not insert a DOI, which is a great question, then all you need to do is go to your library, go to your references and do find reference updates. EndNote will automatically go to the references and find reference updates. So let's go to imported references. So if there are any updates for this, you can go to references, find reference updates. In case there is no DOI associated, it will search other reference. Okay. So update empty fields or update all fields. So this will ensure all the missing DOIs, page numbers, anything which are there. I hope that answers the question that was asked. Okay, now going back to the point that I was making before on retractions. It is quite possible that some of the papers that we have previously saved onto our library, those papers have had a retractions since then. And obviously, when you put a paper or you import and put a paper in your library, it is with the understanding that you have probably read it or you find it important enough to cite in your bibliography, correct? So you are not, you know that is something you have read, you have vetted. After some time, if it has got retracted, there is really no way for you to know. So that's where retractions come into play. Now, out of these references that I am, and some of these references actually are references that I had cited almost a decade ago in my publications. And since then, some of these references have got retracted. And EndNote has been able to find these retractions. They have clubbed it, and if you click over here, you can actually see why the paper has got retracted. It gives you the reasons for that also. Now, where are we sourcing this retraction information? We are working with Retraction Watch and sourcing this retraction information. So I hope this part about retractions also makes sense to everybody. Okay. Now we have another thing called tags. Now, if I just click on this one, no, let's go, not go to retractions. Another one. Okay, let us talk about this one. Now, if you notice over here, uh, summary, right? Now, this is a part of several groups. Can you see that? And I can give it a tag. Okay, I can create a tag for this. How does EndNote find retracted papers? By working with Retraction Watch. We match the papers in your library and we try to see if these are present on the Retraction Watch database. Let's give it the color orange and we'll give it a new name, Notch 3. Create tag. Okay, so now close it. Can you see Notch 3? And you can hover. This one is on information. So this is a way to visually see your papers. You wanted to see retractions once again. This is a retracted paper. This is a paper which is in my library. It is retracted, so it is filed under this file called retraction, the folder retraction, and it tells you that it's a retracted publication. And you see this? This publication is indexed by Retraction Watch for the following reasons. I hope this clears up this question. Now, one more thing. There is an extremely interesting, feature on EndNote, and this is present in both EndNote 20, 21, and 25, where you can find, you can annotate a PDF attached. Okay, so for example, this PDF is attached. I can now annotate this PDF. Okay, now I'm going to give it a, I'm going to say, I'm just giving it a rather playful, title, which I know will not be present in any of my scientific references. So Thor Ragnarok, okay, this is the annotation that I give. I close it. It tells me, do you want to save? Yes, I do want to save. And then I search for any field plus PDF with notes contains the word Thor. Thor is, here you go. So again, an extremely easy and great way to annotate and add extra information to your PDFs that can be searched at a later point. So when you're reading a paper, you're reading. So if you have, imported PDFs onto EndNote, you can read the PDFs within the EndNote database, put comments over there, annotate it, and it will be searchable at a later date. I hope this makes sense to everybody, and we will now proceed to a very interesting AI features. What are the AI features that are there? Can we transfer data from Mendeley to EndNote automatically? You'll have to export it into an RIS format and just double click and open it on EndNote. Okay. Now, when you have the PDF, you can see that there is a research assistant or the, the blinking star icon. Click on it and that opens up the key takeaways. Just open it up on a bigger window. Give it a moment. Oh, just a moment. Yeah, probably took a bit of time. You can even chat with the PDF. So we have seen this. Can you see this? I'll try to put it on a bigger window pane. Just give it a moment. Yes. So we have it on a bigger window pane. Can you see this? You can chat. So I have just chatted with the document. This would be extremely helpful when you have a long document, you want to cite, you want to see exactly that part is there or not, is the right citation in context. You can also summarize, use this to summarize. So for example, let us say this part. I would like to summarize this part. So you can see summarize selected text. One more thing that you can do is, let's say this is what I want to. Okay, so what I'm going to do right now is we have a Word document. Now, the moment you install EndNote, you should be able to see this. What I have done, let's go back to our PDF. I want to cite this in my document as it is, like a quotation. So copy, quote, and citation. You go over here, copy it. Can you see this? It has copied the citation also. And this is where I go to EndNote 2025 and I can choose the style that I want. Just update the citations and bibliography. Now, the question that somebody had asked a little bit ago was, how do I convert a named citation into numbered? Just choose the right citation style. Oh, okay. Just a minute. Just give me one moment. I think I'll have to refresh and get a fresh Word document. Stopping to share for a moment. Let's open up a new document. Okay, just give me 1 second. Let me share it now. Share my screen. Okay, so the problem that you had seen just now, add in end ref list, that had happened actually because there was no um, text before that, nothing. I just copied it and it was not able to find out exactly where the reference comes. Now, if you notice over here, I have put some dummy text. I put one more reference over here and then I copied the same thing. Can you see this? I copied the same thing and you can see this. Now the question was, this is, if you notice, this is a number citation. So I will go slightly differently and I'll make it a name citation. Can you see this now? It has now become a name citation. So I hope this makes sense, right? I change a numbered citation into a name citation. Now, if you notice over here, there is no space. I want to do some changes in the way the bibliography is done. Left, okay, layout, line spacing, 1.5 lines if you want to say, or space after single, okay. Can you see this? One space. So you can even change this. Okay, now let us see if I want to put some more text. EndNote 2025 has AI generative capabilities. So I have insert, sorry, EndNote, insert citation. This is very helpful. Remember, we search for microbiota. You can just search for any keyword. That's it. Automatically styles change. Automatically styles are changing, right? I don't want this particular citation. I want to take it away. Remove citation. Okay. See? So very easy. If you want to remove a citation, you want to add a citation, you have to do this. Now, this also works with Google Docs. Can you see extensions? EndNote site while you write. Open it. I have downloaded this extension. We were searching for Alzheimer's before. So can you see? Automatically the reference. Update the citations according to it creates a reference list. Which step do you want me to repeat? This is a question about, can you mind showing us the step, exactly which step? So if this is about Google Docs, I have opened a Google Docs document. I've gone to extensions. I have already added on an extension. The extension is EndNote. You open it. This extension is open, right? I have then typed some text and then put my cursor. And if you notice, I'm searching references using Alzheimer's. I can choose something else also. So let us choose P53. So it will search my entire. You do not have the EndNote choice. That is right. You'll have to add on. You need to go to extensions and add on. You have to get that extension. This is not there by default. You'll have to search and add on that extension. So click, same thing, insert citation. Oh, okay, see, retry. My cursor was wrong. My cursor was not in the right place. Now it will insert. Can you see this? It's inserted correctly. Very important, you need to put your cursor in the right place. Can you see this? Citations are updated. You can also use this to find, and you can see, you change your citation style from here. You can select any other style. You can see you have all these styles over here, right? So whatever style you want, you can select the style. Now, if you do not see a particular style, what do? You go to EndNote, Style, Download, and you can search for the output styles. Within EndNote, all your output styles are over here, output styles, and you can open your style manager to check which style. You can also edit a particular style if you want to do it. Okay, so now many of the times, let us talk about editing a style. Now, can you see I have chosen use ranges for consecutive citations. Okay, so I can edit it and I can do this. You can put one number for references cited together. You can use letters to separate, grouped references. So for me, I have chosen one example 1 to 3 or 1A to F. So you can say grouped references, use letters. Okay, proceed by. I will a comma and follow by a comma. So you can now, if you are not able to open older library onto EndNote, you can also use the recover button. With this, I think we have covered, all the major functions of EndNote. There are obviously a lot of nuances, but they are not, possible to cover within a 1 hour session. You all are welcome to write into us in case you need more clarification. Your EndNote does not have the retraction function. Sir, can I please ask which version you are using? This was introduced from version EndNote 21. And maybe certain builds of EndNote 20, I'm not sure, but EndNote 21 and therefore do have. So if you're using a version like EndNote X9 or X8, they will not have the retraction version. Yes. I'm stopping to share now and see if there are any more questions. If there is anything that we talked about and that was not clear, do let us know and we'll be glad to, explain that once again. Please note we keep on doing these sessions once a quarter. So if you have forgotten something or would like to, once again attend and refresh your memory, you all are, most welcome to do that. Do we have any more questions? No, we do not have EndNote for lineups.